It pains me to say the new Zack Snyder film Rebel Moon on Netflix is not good. Hi, my name's Stu and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. I actually mean that because, believe it or not, I'm actually a fan of Zack Snyder. A lot of the films that he has done I like quite a lot. I mean, I was a fan of his before I even knew him. So I liked his remake of Dawn of the Dead that came out in 2004. I love Watchmen. To this day, I love 300 to this day, and like I say, back then I didn't even know that he was the director, so I didn't learn of him actually, excuse me, until, well, just around Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. So once he sort of started creating the DCEU, I wasn't aware of him. But obviously it was nice to retroactively see that, oh, this is a guy I've actually already seen before and liked his films, you know, so that's great. Unfortunately, and I don't think this is hard to argue, it's been a bit difficult for him, especially in the last few years and his most recent efforts, etc. We will talk about it a bit. Anyway, I just wanted to preface this with that I am actually a fan of Zack Snyder's. Batman v Superman is one of my favourite comic book films to date. It's not my favourite. I think by now it's not my favourite anymore because we've had a few things come out since then, of course, which, yeah, in my opinion, do kind of beat it. But you know, that film, I did a lengthy video on it, I think 2 years ago or so. I'll leave a link to that at the end of this if you want to. And I really enjoyed it because it felt like he made it sort of for me. I absolutely get every aspect of that film, understand all the criticisms that are directed at it. For me, it really worked in so many ways, especially the extended cut, right? Anyway, I liked a lot of his films, even his most recent one before this, which was Army of the Dead on Netflix, which was generally at least positively received. You could say mixed to positive. I enjoyed that, did a lot of new things in the zombie genre. Well, not a lot, but I tried to do new things in the zombie genre. And yeah, it just worked with his aesthetics and the way he has and works the camera. So that one I did actually like. And I also, I reviewed that for this channel. I reviewed his cut of the Justice League. You know, I reviewed that, did a long video on that because that was just a really cool experience for me. And I just wish we were in a world where we didn't have the Justice League, you know, the 2017 version that we had in theaters, but instead this one, would have loved to have had that. So I've reviewed a lot of things of his for the channel already. So like I say, I am a fan. In this case, I'm sorry, but to me, Rebel Moon is indefensible. Now, the weird thing about this film is that they've actually already made aware that there's going to be a director's cut of it. So we're now reliving the whole Snyder Cut thing, which really ruined, you have to say ruined, the DCEU. All these rabid fans are like, yes, give me the cut. I mean, to clarify, I was among the people who said yes. You know, I would really be interested in seeing a Zack Snyder cut, but no, I didn't go all over the internet pestering people at Warner Brothers, at DC, or wherever the hell on the internet saying, we need the Snyder cut, release the Snyder cut. That wasn't me. You know, I agreed with the general sentiment of it, but not the methodology. So yeah, so it looks like we're probably those rabid fans are gonna jump on over to this and say, release the Snyder cut. You know, it's weird, you release a film, you hype it up, it's like, this is our own Star Wars, we're gonna build a universe and all that. And then as soon as it's released, or even before, it's like, but there's a director's cut coming. It's like, why do this? Why are you already telling films, don't worry, if you don't like it that much, there's gonna be another cut in a few months' time. What weird marketing strategy Netflix has with this film, I don't know, and there's a second part coming in April, just to let you know. So that really is weird just from the get-go. And I will say, just like I did back then with Justice League, I do hope, because I don't know of course, I would hope that the director's cut makes more sense, because this film is really cut to pieces. It's even with a runtime of 2 hours and 15 minutes, it feels like we're just getting little tidbits and there's so many chunks missing in between to flesh everything out. Then again, I don't know, do you really expect that many people who didn't like this film are suddenly going to go, oh yes? I mean, I'll watch the director's cut because I'm a fan of Zack Snyder, I'm interested in the film business, and I want to see, you know, the comparison between the two and what has been added, etc. I'm interested in that thing. But your random viewer is going to go like, no, why would I want to watch more of the same film that I didn't like already? Yeah? Anyway, so what is Rebel Moon? What is this about? This started out years and years ago as an idea, and Zack Snyder said he wanted to do a pitch for a Star Wars film. He was rejected apparently, and so he was like, okay, I'll just keep going with the idea and maybe someday someone will pick it up. That someone is Netflix. What is this about? We are on a, you know, this is not our galaxy, I don't think. This is a made up fictional galaxy. We're on this planet, it's full of farmers. For some unnamed reason, they all speak in English in a Scandinavian accent. I don't know why this is never explained. You know, this is weird. I found it quite weird from the start. They're all, you know, among each other. Why are they all speaking with an accent? I don't know. These farmers are asked by this galactic empire that exists for their resources, so their harvest, etc. It's a difficult planet. It's already difficult for them to get the little they have scrounged together, you know, but they are asked to donate it to the galactic empire because the empire needs it. That is what sets the story off. You have got our main character, her name is Cora, and we can tell from the start there's something about her that's not being shared, you know, because she takes out a whole unit of soldiers on her own. And she decides that she's going to help this group of farmers by gathering an army to fight off the galactic empire, which from the start seems really weird. This is a galactic empire, so you're immediately thinking of millions and millions, maybe billions of soldiers, I don't know. And we've got this little settlement of farmers that's got like, I don't know, 100 people, maybe, and they're gonna raise an army. It's like, how is this gonna make sense? Anyway. What does happen during the film? Not much actually, because what we get is, which could be a montage or somehow shortened down, what happens is we think of one person that could be an addition to the group. So we go to this planet, then you usually see an action sequence sort of introducing this person as a really cool character, and then they join the group. And then we go to the next destination. And the same thing happens again. We see a cool fight scene showing us, or action scene showing us why this person is really cool. And then they join the group. And this keeps going for quite some time where you're like, okay, you know, could you not have done? I was already annoyed by that point. Like I say, I'm a fan of his, okay? So this is not me just hating for hate's sake. I was really disappointed because I'm like, surely not, this can't be it. And this is like one of the things where I'm like, surely there must be another cut where they did something different with this, because it's weird, even within the story, because these are all random people, right? Not all of them, but most of them are like, I've heard of this person, and so they go and grab this person. They don't know each other. It's like, hey, random person, will you join our fight? You know, that is probably just pointless, hopeless against this galactic empire. And they're, yes, of course I will, and we will fully trust each other, although we don't know each other. It's just weird. And sorry, spoiler, but I'm assuming that not many people are actually going to watch this unless you are bored and you've got it on Netflix or whatever. Big spoiler, the big twist is, again, spoiler if you don't want to skip ahead, just a 30 seconds or so. One of them betrays the group, you know, that's the big twist. One of them does. It's like, oh my God, the one guy at the start who just freely offered his spaceship, without which they could not start their journey, turns out to be actually a bounty hunter, and he wants them for to sell them off to the galactic empire. It's like, wow, what a twist. Anyway, but yeah, so this to me just felt really weird. And even by the end of the film, because this is just a part one, it's called A Child of Fire, and there's a part two coming out in April. I think its subtitle is The Scar Giver. There's supposed to be, I'm supposing, some big epic battle, but we're left with like 10 or 11 people in this group, and it's like, how are you going to fight off a galactic army? At this point, it's really unclear. And again, they're doing all this to defend a group of, it's a settlement of maybe 100 farmers, 200 if at most. You know, it's very, very strange. I get, you know, rebellion, etc. It starts small and it, you know, obviously it turns into a big snowball, etc. But this just seems really weird. So that's all I'll tell you about the story, and we find out not much about many characters. We do find out more about Cora's background. She used to be part of the Galactic Empire. She broke away from that. She was actually a much decorated soldier, which explained why she took out this group of, this unit of soldiers on her own. And she herself is being hunted, actually. So she's done something. We're not quite sure what she's done, but she's actually also being hunted by them, and that's why she's also really enthusiastic to help the farmers win this fight. So yeah, apart from her, there's not really much character development, I must say. I wasn't really interested in any of the characters except visually, because some of them have got really cool designs visually. But as characters, they're all very bland. It's usually just some kind of revenge. It is weird. I mean, people say this, but I actually find myself agreeing. It's like you've taken Star Wars, you've shifted it a bit to the left, you know, and it's like a copy of it, but an inferior one. So it's in many things. You've even got a cantina scene in here. The characters itself is just, the only thing missing here is just some kind of, you know, Jedi power or something, and you've got more or less the same story. But the galaxy itself, it seems a bit like a mix of Star Wars, and maybe it's got some things sort of visually reminding me of Avatar and the technology in that, and things that happen in the film. It all just looks a bit muddier. It's a little grim dark. A weird choice, by the way, to release this at Christmas. It's like, what do people want for Christmas? A sort of grim dark Star Wars that's PG-13. By the way, this new cut is going to be R-rated, as if that's going to change everything. Yeah, it's a weird choice, and you've got other weird choices in here. The Galactic Empire, they run around in pretty much literal Nazi uniforms. I mean, if you put on a swastika, you would easily believe that that's a World War II Nazi uniform. And it's funny because the villain, the admiral of this one ship that we're focused on, it's like how can we make him as edgy as possible? And he's, you know, he's weird, and he's got all these seemingly sexual fetishes and all these. It's like a 13-year-old wrote some of this stuff. It's like, he must, you know, he's a villain, so he must be into some fetishes and stuff. It's really silly. And then the group of soldiers I mentioned a few times now that Cora takes out, they're left there by the Galactic Empire to you know, overlook this whole thing, the whole operation. And it's so pathetic, because from the get-go you've most of these soldiers, they're like the most horrific people, and it's also so forced, I think, because it would be a lot more interesting to have a group of soldiers there who are genuinely, you know, just trying to get on with the job, instead of them from the first moment on, they're harassing these villagers. And it's all, look, we're bad, we're really bad, we're awful. And what starts it off is they actually kidnap one woman, and they're going to gang rape her, because that's obviously fun as well. I mean, in their eyes, or, you know, and that's where Cora intervenes, and she takes out the whole group. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad she did, of course, but it was so ridiculous. It's like even in a galactic empire, which depends on discipline and structure and all these things, these guys wouldn't be soldiers. You know, they'd be kicked out immediately because they don't follow orders. You know, anyway. But speaking of the fight scenes, and I like Zack Snyder's visual style generally. I mean, they're like, if I think of his cut of the Justice League, the slow-mo scene where you've got Cyborg playing American football, and you've got the slow-mo there with the lights, etc. Looks absolutely beautiful. It's one of the best things I've ever seen done in slow-mo. So he can do slow-mo, but someone needs to rein him in, because at this point, Army of the Dead was also already starting to get a bit much. This here is just too much. The fight scenes do not exist without slow motion, and sometimes, you know, it keeps going for too long, or you've got things in slow motion that don't need to be in slow motion. I mean, if you're like, okay, there's so much going on in this scene, or it just looks really, really cool, you know, you want to draw attention to it or give the audience a chance to take in all of the stuff that's happening. We don't need it for someone just turning around, or someone pulling out their gun, or, you know, not that that's the things that actually happen here, but that gives you an idea of what kind of slow-mos you've got here. You've got slow-mos on top of slow-mos, and then even then the choreography, it didn't really satisfy me. So it's like, you know, if at least the choreography and the fights were good, but then you've got a lot of cuts as well. In a day and age now where people are really getting into having their action fight scenes in continuous shots, etc. You know, I mean, think of the likes of John Wick and stuff. So yeah, this is it's a bit much. And also I felt myself sitting there, you know, blinking my eyes, because I think Zack Snyder also should really hand over the actual camera to someone else, because he uses this focus which is so narrow. It's like he's got the shot on someone's face and the hair here already is out of focus, and I felt, honestly, I was sitting there just blinking my eyes because I felt like something's wrong with my eyes. Too much of all the different focus shifts and all that. I think it's too much. Like I say, I'm generally a fan of his style, but this is like the extreme of his style, which I do not like. There's some really cool shots in here visually at the start, especially when you've got like a big sun in the background, and you've got some really cool shots of whole cities and planets and stuff like that. But yeah, this visual style here is just overtaken completely, especially when it comes to the camera work, with the focus and the slow motion and the fight choreography, and all that goes together not so well in my opinion. So yes, I was very disappointed. I was hoping, I didn't expect it to be a great film, because I was like, not too sure about this. I was hoping for it to be at least good, you know, that you're like, okay, you know, it's like a guilty pleasure or something like that, yeah. It's like where The Hobbit, I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Hobbit films, I'm like, they're okay, you know, and I was hoping this would be, it's okay. But at this point, really no, I like a lot of the actors, some performances in this film are a bit, you know, even our main characters, while I think she's, you know, very sympathetic to her cause, etc. The acting to me didn't always feel on points like, okay, look stoic, you know, and stubborn, and it didn't work for me, I'm sorry. So yeah, we'll see what the director's cut changes. If I feel like talking about it when it does eventually come out, I will do so. I'll watch the second part when it's out. Like I say, I am a fan, so I want to support Zack Snyder, but this, in my opinion, is not it. I'm happy for him that he's finally getting this big idea, this big story off the ground, but I do hope that, you know, eventually he'll be reined in and he'll get to work on maybe smaller scale things that where he can figure out again how this should be done, you know. So yeah, there you go. If you've got Netflix, give it a try. Let me know your opinion, but we'll see what the future holds. I hope it holds more than this. That'll be all from me today. I could have talked more and more about this, but I decided, you know, at some point I have to stop. I don't want this to be an endless video. If you enjoyed this review video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about Rebel Moon. What do you think's going to happen in the next one? Did you like this? Do you like anything that Zack Snyder's ever done? Any and all of this that you want to say, put it down in the comments below. I'll thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care. Bye.